Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into today's fourth and final video. We're going to have a look at the ECMWF 42-day model and forecast for today's fourth and final video. This is your 42-day / 6 week again. You can iron down. I should get on with it for you in a moment. Just say, but first, a bit of sales, our 6-day UK weather forecast. We've also released every Friday and 10 to 14 day as well. So check out all of today's epic videos and content. Show to everyone for doing that. Thanks to ECMWF.int Inc. for supply of the charts and the data as well. By the way, thank you so much, ECM. Right, we're going to start off with week 1 mean sea level pressure anomaly, taking us from the 31st of March to the 7th of April. Next week sees high pressure in control, sitting over and to the east country. Plenty of low pressure is out in the Atlantic, and we'll be bringing up like a southerly, southeasterly type blow with that. 500 millibar height anomaly with a big ridge sitting through the north and west of Europe. And the temperature anomaly is coming out above average by about 3 to 6 degrees. A warm week on the way. It's also a drier than average week as well. So next week looking high and dry and warm and dry too. Right, week 2 will be the 7th to the 14th of April. High pressure still in control and in the ascendancy. Ridging a little bit to the north of the country maybe and bring the wind around slightly more to a north or a northeasterly direction. The 500 millibar height anomaly again shows that big ridge through the north and west of Europe, going up towards green trough of low pressure through the east of Europe, and winds tending to be coming in from the northeast. Week 2 temperature anomalies look like that. So still above average, actually, turning cooler or cold across northern and eastern parts of Europe, you'll notice, but we're still being protected by that ridge and sort of on the periphery of it. And it's a little bit drier than average week as well, so we've got a couple of weeks of mostly dry, mild, or even quite warm weather on the way. Week 3 will be the 14th to the 21st of April. Changes. High pressure going northwards, low pressure. Sorry everyone, low pressure through the northwest, but winds coming in from the northeast. Then 500 millibar highs. Well, that looks quite mysterious, doesn't it? So that doesn't really back up the mean sea level pressure anomaly. Let's put in a question mark for that one. And move on. Temperature anomalies are cooling down, so reverting back closer to normal there for the UK, in fact most parts of Europe. And precipitation anomalies, weak signal, but rather above average for rainfall, perhaps if anything. Very weak signal though. Week 4 will be the 21st, 28th of April. So we find further blocking here within the northern latitudes, low pressure underneath it, and again bring the wind in from that east to northeasterly direction. And the 500 millibar height anomaly strengthening the blocking signal away to the high latitudes. But this has been put back. At one time it looked as though this blocking would appear in the first half of April. It's been pushed back to the second half of April now, probably a trough underneath. So the temperature anomaly, well, that goes above average again, only by a little bit, but to go a bit warmer, certainly not what you'd expect with northern blocking. And precipitation wise, it's wetter than average to our south and drier than average up to the north. Right, we're cooking with gas. Week 5 will be the 28th of April to the 5th of May. Oh, high pressure started to become a little bit more centred towards Scandinavia. Could that begin to bring the wind around to more of an easterly direction? And 500 millibar height anomaly looking like that. Again, ridging towards Scandi. Okay! Temperature anomalies for week 5. They're a little bit above average. And then precipitation wise, well, no real signal to work with. And lastly, week 6 will be the 5th to the 12th of May. Here we go! Oh, now we've got sort of a ridge in the Atlantic. Other than that, not a lot to work with. What about 500 millibar height anomaly? Well, that's showing a Scandinavian high, though, check that out. So that will bring the wind in from the east, I'm quite sure. It might be pretty warm potentially by the time we get into May, those east. The temperature is nicely above average, and precipitation-wise, finally, well, very weak still, but could be slightly on the drier side. So maybe a bit of a hint of Scandinavian high into May, which is typical for May. Before then, the first half of April looking like we have a lot of dry and warm weather, or mild weather anyway, for the west of Europe, including the UK and Ireland. Then possibly something a little bit cooler or colder and more unsettled into the second half of April, which is largely in line with what the JMA and CFS are hinting at as well. So if you haven't seen JMA Friday, yeah, I've let the cat out the bag there. So sorry. But I can tell you that like JMA Friday and this ECMWF 42 there, they're kind of in agreement with one another about the way forward for April. Dry and mostly warm first half of the month, perhaps cooler and more unsettled into second half of the month. But remember that the first half of April, a couple of weeks ago, we was looking up this cooler, more unsettled weather, has been pushed back by a couple of weeks. So whether we'll ever get to that makes you wonder. Anyway, that's what all of the long range or extended range forecasts are showing today. We'll do it all over again next week. And so tomorrow we're going to have the 6 a.m. broadcast. And the reason this is on Friday evening rather than Saturday morning is that tomorrow also we've got the first summer 2025 seasonal model roundup coming up, getting all of the long range models together for the summer, for the first time this season. There'll be a weekend broadcast 10 to 14 there as well, so lots of epic content to come tomorrow. Well, you enjoy the rest of your Friday evening, though, and for this one, so for now, thanks so much.